Hi, this is Lorene, and I'm doing another video. If you'll give me a second to clear center and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, so we'll just get started. Last week I heard a message, March 30th, 2024. Earth is the pineal gland of the universe. Okay. So, and then on 3/31, which was Easter, if the universe is a physical manifestation of the divine consciousness, just as the brain is a physical manifestation of my or our consciousness, then Earth is the pineal gland of the divine consciousness, the source, the creator of all things. So that's just a metaphor I'm using. Our pineal gland, or what I've read or heard, is that is the psychic center, I guess, of our brain. That is where we tap into our intuition. That is where we tap into our connection to the divine, the physical manifestation of that part of ourselves. But truthfully, we tap into the divine consciousness through our energy field, right? Through our consciousness. Our physical manifestation, our physical body is a manifestation of our consciousness, okay? So that's important when we're talking about blocking. So I know I've heard that chlorine and things that they put in our water, fluoride, calcifies the pineal gland. Okay, that's what I've heard from different sources. But if we put things in perspective and understand that our physical self, our physical body, is a manifestation of the consciousness, that comes first. The physical form is just a vehicle to house our soul, to house our consciousness. But our consciousness and its ability to manifest or connect with the divine or work in this world is not contingent on any restrictions placed on our physical bodies. Okay? That's very important, because sometimes the restrictions placed on our physical bodies are used as tools to imprison us or restrict us. Okay? It's very important to start to think about that and figure out how you can reconcile that truth or that understanding within your own consciousness, and how you can utilize that information to empower you. April 1st, 2024. I am not the final word. The final word does not come from outside the self. The final word comes from within, from your connection with the divine consciousness, your divine self. And that's true of anybody. When you are watching videos on YouTube or any other platform, and any person is telling you what their truth is, okay, what they've come to understand or know from their own intuitive knowing, that's not the final word. That's information coming from outside yourself. It's okay to receive information from outside of yourself. It can trigger intuitive knowing or information, and it can help you in many ways. But at the root, the most important thing for you, me, and everybody else to do is to listen to the information that comes from within. That information that comes from that higher self, also known as that source, the creator of all things, that information is your final word. So making sure that connection is clear, it's centered and it's balanced, and it's protected, so there's no outside low vibratory influences coming in to influence that information, is very important. But at the foundation. Any internal guidance that you get, any guidance you get, should come from inside. It should come from your connection to the divine, and that connection to the divine is your divine self. That is divinity. That is unity. No one person has an exclusive connection with divinity, with God, with the creator of all things. We each have a connection. All of us. That is our true selves. That divine consciousness is our true selves, because our is one. Our is unity. We believe, or we think of ourselves as separate, but we're not. We are one consciousness that has separated itself into multiple fractals to have an experience in order to see itself from a different perspective. So only from this lower vibration, lower 3D level, does this source energy see itself as separate. When we start transitioning to the higher realms, we start to understand our unity, our connection, our source, and that one consciousness that is us. Okay, and that is what the importance of this transition right now, from this idea of separation to unity. Okay, understanding, because we're not going from separation, this idea of separation, to unity. We are going from this level of consciousness of this idea of separation to understanding that we are truly unified. But there are many steps and phases that take us back to that source unified consciousness. Okay. April 3rd, that's actually my birthday. It was my birthday. How our transcendence is triggering many worlds. We sit in our center and create flow of unconditional love. Each wave of energy builds, creating a larger wave, which is constructive interference. This is why the vetting on this world was so intense. Our duty is profound. So as we evolve, as we grow, and as we transcend, and as we begin to embody unconditional love and share that with one another, we create waves of energy of unconditional love that traverse the universe. Okay, just as we emanate that from our individual energy field when we live from balance and we live from unconditional love, this world, as we as humans, and the raptors and Gladiola and her people will also be included in this, because they are very important parts of transcendence. But as we embody that energy and we start to live from that place of unconditional love, we start to create waves of unconditional love out into the universe, which begins to shift every world, every star, every asteroid, every star system, galaxy, planet. It will start to affect the whole of the universe. Okay. April 4th, 2024. Discerning possible realities from coalesced realities. As we grow and open our hearts to live from balance, we open ourselves up to the awareness of the divine consciousness. As we open ourselves up to the divine consciousness, we bring clarity, truth, and understanding to ourselves as the divine consciousness. As I sit in this moment, there is much information coming in. I see 3 possible realities that prevent the primary cabal from making it to reticulum. I see several possible realities, possible pathways for the energies who will not transcend on Mother Earth. These are merely possible realities, possible future outcomes or timelines. Nothing is etched in stone until a reality is chosen to coalesce by the divine consciousness. This does not violate the idea or construct of free will, as we are all divine. Discerning possible realities from coalesced realities requires balanced energy, which brings about clarity. Okay, and I just want to clarify, go back to where I talked about the three possible realities that prevent the primary cabal from making it to reticulum. From what I receive information intuitively, the primary cabal on this world right now, from this present time, tries to escape or circumvent the karmic consequences of their actions on this world, and they use secret space program technology to leave. They traverse the universe and eventually find a planet in reticulum, and there they evolve. Okay, and as I said in the last video, the divine consciousness allowed them that opportunity to see where they would go if they would find their way back to balance. That was merely a possible future outcome. People also call that timelines, but it's not a timeline. There are no timelines, but it's okay if you want to call it that. It's a possible future outcome. It was something that the divine consciousness considered, but since they didn't find their way to balance, and they have not been very loving energies, that future possible reality will not coalesce. It will not coalesce. Okay? And so in the moment when I was writing this, I was sitting and I could see I was being shown three possible realities that prevent this primary cabal from ever making it to reticulum, and which will put them in a place where they will be held accountable for their injustices, and they will incarnate in the Cepheus constellation. Okay, so as I was sitting and receiving that message, I was having visions of these possible realities, but they are not coalesced realities. Okay, and so that's the message. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. As your vibration rises, and as you work towards maintaining clear, centered, balanced energy and find your disciplines, what that means for you, you will start to open up to these truths, to these messages. Okay, and so I have here discerning possible realities from coalesced realities requires balanced energy, which brings about clarity. And back in 2016, I took a class on, it was called the Psychic 1 class, but really what I learned was how to, what the clairs were, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairvoyance, all the clairs, and then we did a guided meditation. And that I opened up really profoundly, and so we talked about what messages came through in the visions or whatever we experienced during that guided meditation. And when I was home, or when I was driving home or something, I can't remember the circumstances, but I remember asking, what is so important about balancing your energy? What is this? You know, I wasn't clear, and I had this vision. And it was the planet Earth and Scooby and Shaggy. I love Scooby and Shaggy. It was my favorite cartoon as a kid, was Scooby-Doo. And it was a safe place for me as a child when I was going through my traumas as a child, as well as Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street. But I think my guides have a sense of humor. They tap into my sense of humor. And so I saw the Earth, and I saw Shaggy and Scooby tied to the side of the earth with a belt, right? So there's like a belt and holding them on the side of the earth. And it was a globe, and so it's spinning really fast, and it's all wobbly, and they're hanging off the side tied to the earth with this belt, right? And it was very funny. I actually started laughing hysterically because I was like, these guys, I can't believe my guides are showing me this. But they were just showing me the importance of being in balance, because when you're out of balance, things are wild. You know, you're at risk, it's unsafe. Okay, they were just showing me this physical manifestation of this very wild and unsafe situation, because Scooby and Shaggy were not maintaining clear-centered and balanced energy. Okay, and so that's what was shown to me. That's what helped me understand the importance of this process. And so I'm just urging you or encouraging you to find what works for you. Okay, and what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for you, but I'm always happy to share that information with people. And I do believe I have some videos about that. I'll try to find them and put them in the description. But that is what I started with. But even the videos that I've done, that was just my foundation. What I do now versus what I did in 2016 are two different things, but it gave me the foundation I needed to build to where I am right now. Okay? And so I also have a note here, interview with ED Ruben Langdon. He did a show on Gaia called Interview with ED, and I think he still does it, but it's not on Gaia. And I watched both seasons and they were good, but I understand why he decided to go a different direction. But he spoke with people who channeled beings across the universe at different levels of consciousness, right? And I always found the lower levels, like 5D level consciousnesses, most relatable, because I believe what they were saying, they could relate to what we're going through or where we're at right now. So they spoke very plainly in a way that was relatable. And when we would have these, he'd have these individuals who were channeling very high collective energies, who really weren't even in physical bodies anymore. They were a collective. And there's one lady I really liked. I think it was Unity of Light or something of light she channeled. And if I can find her, I will put a picture-in-picture and a link. But one of the a link so you can get more information. But what I noticed when they channeled these higher level beings is it was always about perspective. Well, from our perspective, and a lot of times those higher collective consciousnesses did not really comment very much because their perspective was so different. They didn't see love and hate. They were already moving towards unity. They didn't see duality the same way we did. We see all this love, hate, left, right, you know, trauma, joy. We are deeply steeped in these words and these paradigms. And this is bad and this is good. And we have, each individual person has a very clear definition of what that means to them and how that affects them, how that triggers them in a positive or negative way. Okay? And so when they would speak, a lot of the things they would say I felt were very unrelatable, although always rooted in unconditional love and acceptance of humanity and what we were going through. Okay? And so my point being is these higher level beings were able to see all the timelines, all the possible timelines or future realities. Okay? They're so elevated that they're able to see the possible realities or timelines as well as the coalesced realities, but not for just this world or their world, for the universe as a whole. And in order to hold that information and be able to process that information, they're not living from physical bodies, because physical bodies have physical restrictions. And the reason why we don't have access to all that information, because as complex as our brains are, we can't hold that information and remain sane. Okay, we're not able, our brains are not able to process that information. And at this level of consciousness, they're not meant to, and they don't need to, because we have to raise our vibration to a place where we can process and accept that information and utilize it. And I will say from personal experience, where I was in 2016, I couldn't accept or process the information that I received today because I don't have a frame of reference for it. There is a whole framework that I've been exposed to that helps me understand the messages that are coming in today. When I was in 2016, I was still living from dogma. I was still, even though I wasn't practicing Catholicism, I was still deeply rooted in the dogma of religion. So a lot of these more esoteric ideas would have been very difficult for me to reconcile and process in a way that I could use and share. Okay. When we tap into the divine consciousness, we tap into higher levels of consciousness, which gives us access to more information. We must be able to discern this information. LSD gave many access to higher levels of consciousness, but without living from a balanced state and or a higher vibration, we are unable to discern this information. Thus, we see mental health issues, psychosis, and inability to ground or reground in this reality. And so, from personal experience, being my oldest brother's friends were teenagers in the 70s, and my classmates' friends, their older brothers, were teenagers in the 70s. And I've met a number of people who took a lot of LSD who ended up losing their ability to ground in this reality, and as young men or women ended up on disability because they spent so much time in the higher realms, they lost the ability to reground themselves. And many would say, oh, the drug ate their brain or whatever. That's not what happened. They lost touch with this reality, and they weren't ready to receive and process the information that was coming in. But that reality was an escape from the world that they were living in. So that, to me, isn't we shouldn't judge them, but clearly they were going through something in their lives that put them in a place where they needed or felt better when they escaped the reality that they were in here and took that drug, right? By taking that drug, right? Okay. This experience isn't merely about light energy entering our body, solar flares, shifting poles, Earth's magnetic field, and the effect on our mind, body, and spirit. To move through this experience successfully requires discipline, commitment, faith, trust, love, hope. It's no one thing or experience. It is a myriad of things. When we sit in the flow of the divine consciousness, we release any chance of friction. This allows us to transcend with the greatest amount of fluidity and peace. This journey is not easy. It is arduous and demanding, but the reward is exponentially greater than the demands placed upon us. We will see ourselves moved, some smoothly, others it will be jarring, and then everything in between. We are being shifted to places that are aligned with our energy field. The vetting and divergence is tribulation. Truth is revealed through tribulation, leading to revelation. How we process, interpret, perceive the coming events is derived from our level of consciousness. I feel no fear, for I have faith in this journey, this path for this world, and what will come to pass. I have absolute faith in this journey. I have absolute faith in where we're going and what will come. I don't doubt it. I don't question it one bit at all. I see where we are going. I see what will coalesce. I know it. Humans are inherently good. We are embodiments of all the beautiful things imagined by the divine consciousness. We transcending have proven that we manifest from the homeostatic state of the divine consciousness in that unconditional love. We are capable of maintaining balance from that homeostatic state. We have proven it not only in this lifetime, but over many. We are breath. We are life. So I have a note here referring back to the last video, leaving the collective consciousness as that existence does not coalesce, but those memories always remain in the divine consciousness. So in the last video, I talked about how that zeta reticuli, gray, future possible reality will not come to pass. Okay, it will not happen. And that memory, that possible reality will fade from the collective consciousness, from our collective consciousness's memory. But it will remain in the divine consciousness, okay? That possible reality will always remain in the divine consciousness, just like when I'm planning a trip and I have all these plans, all the things that coalesce remain in my memory, and all the things I didn't do or that did not coalesce still remain in my memory, just as things I didn't do, right? So all that information is going to remain in the divine consciousness. The zeta reticuli's and the grays, possible future reality, that whole existence, that whole possible timeline that occurred, will not come to pass. It will not exist. It will fade away. But still, it's part of our memory because we're talking about it right now, right? We're talking about zeta reticuli and the grays right now. Because that possible future reality will not come to pass, all these memories, what we know, will fade and be released from the collective consciousness, okay? It will be released. It will be released because we are not responsible for that karmic energy. And the divine consciousness does not want those experiences to affect our path and purpose. Okay? I have more written down here, so I'm just going to read. So the message: as I connect to the divine consciousness, I can access memories from past lives, so nothing is truly lost. But we will release the energy attached to their influence, so it will not affect our path, purpose, and collective memory here on Earth, in this solar system, and across the universe. For their possible reality will not coalesce, just as the possibility of the primary and secondary cabal will not coalesce. Okay, I think that makes better sense than what I was saying before. April 6th, 2024. This morning, information came in about what I touched on yesterday about my experiences in my current day job. I'm just going to write it as it came in or comes in again. There are many employees and students being disrespected, marginalized, abused because of the actions of a few. This information has been brought forward from many people in many ways. I have always been someone who speaks plainly where many are afraid of the consequences. There is no malice in my intention, only a desire to create a better, peaceful, respectful environment for all. We all who have spoken up are at risk, because to address the problem will require shifting the foundation of the institution, the learning institution. At the root, this shift would affect power, influence, and the homeostatic state of the school. Those in power with influence do not like that. There are many other variables that I won't discuss. When this information came in, I saw Jesus preaching to the masses. His beautiful messages of love, compassion, kindness, tolerance, acceptance, and him sharing his healing gift. He was perceived as a threat to the religious power structure because he no longer lived by their rules. He was guided divinely by his Creator, his Father. The message from his Father superseded any standing religious doctrine. He preached a new doctrine. Also, at that time, the religious leaders preached their interpretation of religious doctrine. They believed the Son of Man would release them from oppression, occupation. Did they believe that God would send his Son to wage war? Violence begets violence. He wasn't what those who persecuted wanted or envisioned. Jesus was persecuted and crucified. They have been dealing with the consequences of that choice collectively ever since. What will they do when the second coming reveals itself? The message when I speak of my day job and the message that came in about Jesus Christ is, at my day job, I have witnessed the powers that be have had numerous opportunities to change and fix the problem, culminating in the last 6 months. They have ignored these opportunities, and they, the powers that be, will face the karmic consequences of their choices as individuals and as an organization. My day job is a microcosm of the macrocosm. We will begin to see the karmic consequences for those who marginalized, abused, oppressed. These actions have destabilized any foundation created on the backs of the oppressed, marginalized, and abused. Just as Jesus destabilized the power structure with mere words of love, compassion, kindness, tolerance, forgiveness, so will the second coming prophesied in the book of Revelation. This will no longer be ruled through fear, intimidation, oppression, marginalization, control, etc. These are all constructs created at this lower level vibration. They are veils, shields put up to blind us that we are meant to recognize and grow beyond. The only thing that truly exists is unconditional love. This world is meant to heal itself with the love we share with one another. Then we will heal this solar system. As we know ourselves as unconditional love and connect from that place, unify as a world, we build and grow. When we are solidly rooted in this knowing, understanding, and existence of ourselves as love, we expand across the universe and heal the whole of unity. This is our path. This is our privilege. And so as that message was coming in, I asked, how long will that take? And I was like, 500, 100 years, or 105 or 100 years, what? And the message came as, there is no time. And then it said, the end of this iteration of unity as duality. So if you think about, they estimated what the universe is 500 billion years old, or a trillion years old. I don't even know. If we're at the middle of that incarnation, or at the middle of this iteration of divinity, that would mean that there's another 500 billion years or trillion years, right, to go. But truthfully, there is no time. All time is happening simultaneously. Okay, so actually this iteration is a millisecond. It's a spontaneous thought by the divine consciousness, right? Time is not what we think it is. And so I got that whole explanation when I asked that question. And I understand it, but I feel like it's important to share that with you, because there was a time where it was really important for me to know how long, how much, how far, right? And as we grow and we evolve and we raise our vibration and our consciousness is elevated to a place where we can receive, reconcile this information and utilize it, we come to understand that time really is, it's a construct and it's not really relevant. It has already completed. So this iteration of divinity has already completed. But as we sit in the flow of energy as part of the divine consciousness, believing in separation, we do not see or discern between possible realities and coalesced experiences. As we raise our vibration, our tools of discernment are refined, and we see truth. We see and exist as unconditional love. We unify, become unity, and know I am. A call to arms. This just came in right before the video also. A call to arms is a call rooted in fear. This world no longer responds from fear to fear. Words, actions, intentions direct you in your next steps from this moment, each moment forward. Okay, give me a second. So at the beginning of the video and right now, in this moment, I just saw many of the goddesses lining up on dragons, setting up fields. And so these fields are being set up to facilitate the process of divergence, okay, this separation of the vibrations, so that those who are transcending will be protected by these fields set forth or by the dragons. Also, there's one more thing I needed to share. Give me a second. I pulled this card, Rhiannon. Rhiannon is the great goddess as worshipped by the Welsh. She is an embodiment of life, death, and rebirth. For in her realm there is no death without regeneration. Her name derives from Rigantona, which means great queen, a shapeshifter. She can assume any form she wants. She often appears as a white horse. She is a muse goddess and accompanied by 3 sweetly singing birds who can revive the dead or put the living to sleep. The source of the king's power derived from Rhiannon, the queen and a candidate for kinghood, met Rhiannon dressed as a stag, a regal figure symbolic of rejuvenation, beauty, strength, and instinctual masculine energy. In altar myth, she appears Nimue, or as Vivian, the Lady of the Lake. Rhiannon is a beautiful queen of the night, a reminder of the close balance between death and rebirth. She demands that we honor our instinctual and animal selves as a source of creativity, abundance, and order. She's the embodiment of life, death, and rebirth. And for in her realm there is no death without regeneration. So there is going to be a profound time that's coming. That it comes in very strong this week. Very strong. And it's very important message during this time. Easter season, spring, regeneration. Okay? Remember that. Remember that. And remember that faith, trust is extremely important in these times. This is what sets up your protective fields. Having faith and trust in unconditional love, the Creator, Divinity, Source, God, whatever you call that thing. That thing, that power, that source energy, that higher power. Okay? Remember that. Okay. Thank you.